Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to RacerXOnline.com. I'm Chris Kiefer, Steve Matthes here, and we have a special garage build for you this month. The 1990 YZ125 that's been through some stuff. This thing's seen a lot in the past year or so, and I brought the four-time Manitoba champion with me to talk all about it. And Steve, take it away. This is your baby.
Thanks, Chris. I love building these project bikes. This is the fifth or sixth one I've done. It's a 1990 YZ125, number 45. That can only mean one guy, Damon Bradshaw. Yes, I know he was 45 and 89, you moto nerds, but this is the next best thing. I got this from my buddy Darkside. It was rusted. It was garbage. He had brand new wheels from W, and that's it. So Dark really screwed me on this deal. Somehow I pulled it out. I managed to build this thing with the help of Racetech and Motorsport.com and the guys at W, Michelin, a lot of guys chipped in, Renthal, and we got it going. And I think the thing looks bitchin'. I love red and white Yamahas. I'm from Canada, so I grew up with that my whole life. I think it looks great. So this model of bike, pretty cool build, I think. It is a 125, Chris, so you're gonna have to shift it quite a bit.
I was a Suzuki guy in 1990. So this is going to be different. I never actually got to ride a 1990 YZ125, so this will be fun. And yeah, I'm going to be busy today, shifting a lot. So before we go to the riding segment of this whole thing, how many curse words were towards Darkside when you started building this thing?
Yeah,
throwing out there?
About 780, I would say. He told me it wasn't in good shape, but he didn't mean like I fished it out of a barge in Newark, New Jersey bad. All the bolts were rusted. Everything was rusted out. I had to cut things off. I had to refurbish things, get things powder coated, get things blasted. He left me, outside of the wheels, he left me with a pile of junk, and I've turned it into this beautiful bike.
From the time you got the bike to now, how long has that spanned?
Well, I didn't start it right away.
So a year and a half?
I would say probably a year and a half. Yeah, year and a half build, I would say, it took me. And some of the coolest things I like about it, honestly, my buddy Dan Worley at SDI sent my upper fork tubes shock body to Japan for real true Kashima coating. So I'm really stoked on that. Anybody who's vintage bike guy knows that yellow, the white tanks from Yamahas go yellow and can't bring them back.
Yeah.
So my buddy Doc Wobbs in England sold me an aluminum one, and I got powder coated, so the tank's pretty cool. And you know, Renthal crossbar with the cloth pad. Old school, they brought that back, the guys at Renthal. So that's a few things that I like. Everything's pretty true to the model year, except for I went with a modern YZ125 perch. Thank God. Because
that would have been really
those
bad.
Old ones are not great. So,
well, I'm gonna go ride this thing. Wish me luck. Hopefully nothing falls off this thing while I'm out there. So hopefully we'll be back to wrap this thing up and talk more about the bike and what you did and how I feel about it. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. Okay, just got off the fire-breathing Damon Bradshaw 1990 YZ125 replica. Steve, I've ridden a few of your builds. I will say, just right off the bat, the Honda was a little bit better, but you say the Honda overall was just a better bike back in the day.
Look, Kiefer, if you lined up 100 people and said, is a 1990 CR125 better than a Yamaha YZ125, 100 people would tell you they were.
Okay.
So, yeah, it wasn't exactly a fire breather when it was new. This is bone stock, so no motor work done at all.
No head work.
No head work, no anything. So yeah, it's not exactly, you know, gonna be the epic horsepower beast that you're used to. And you just came off riding the Phil Denton 89 Honda, which
Right.
is also a great bike in England.
Yep.
And yeah, you know, Blue Cruiser are great bikes. In 1990 though, they're
We need some work.
tad slow.
I will say this, it is, for how slow it feels, it makes you appreciate, Steve and I were talking about this earlier, it makes you appreciate how good the new bikes are. You know, we can always say, oh, the 2008 Honda Sierra 450 was the best bike, but we don't really know. We need to go back and check that out. So when we hop on a 1990 YZ125, you're like, wow, Damon really had to work his balls off back in the day to do well.
He'll tell you that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is at this point. One of these bikes are like that. I think it's funny though, like whether it's this build or any of my builds that I've done, because Chicken rode one that I did, Nick Way rode one, you've ridden a couple. It's funny to me because this suspension, Racetech did it. They sprung it, they valved it for like a 200-pound guy. I kind of picked somebody in the middle, right?
Yep.
You're 170.
Yep.
And it looks soft out there.
It feels soft.
And you know, I think that's just a characteristic of older bikes because, you know, going back to the other project builds, I got the same sort of suspension work done to kind of find a happy medium. And they looked soft.
Yeah.
I think back in the day, the geometry, the way the suspension worked, the technology in suspension really created a sensation of the bikes being soft.
Well, the steel frames back then were pretty small in the world of steel frames. Now you look at a steel frame, a little bit more beefy down the head tube, and you look at the head stay up here, it's pretty small. So overall, the bike itself is very flexy. So by saying that, we're at Glen Helen today, lots of chop, very comfortable in all that small stuff. All the stuff that I feel on my YZ450, I don't feel on this YZ125 just because it's so compliant, so soft, and it flexes so much. But nonetheless, it is tough to clear the small tabletops that you guys can see on this video. But I imagine myself riding with 10 other guys on the same kind of bike. And to me, that would be a blast. And I'll have a good time on something that may not be a fire breather, but it is still a fun bike to ride. And you have to learn how to really be aggressive on these things, more so than even the modern two-stroke. So for me, it took me a little while. I think I was in third gear a couple times in the corner, which we'll probably see in the video. I'll be like, oh. So it took me a little bit to retrain my brain to maybe I have to downshift to second and then leave that gear in a long time going up the hill.
I'll tell you what, performance-wise though, jetting-wise, the things that a mechanic does out there, such a mechanic like myself, the bike couldn't have sounded any better.
I did get
crispy.
Yeah, I got a comment earlier that said it sounded really nice.
Crispy, because jetting is an art, and I am an artist.
Well, being that I've rode many Steve's bikes, so like we only had one issue with the shifter. Other than that, it was fine. Like I was expecting more to happen on.
It's a 30-year-old shift shaft. We have got a little bit of spring tension issues, I think.
It does look really good. I had a fun time riding. I think what the people are going to want to know is why you didn't get out there and ride.
I'm too fat for a 125.
No, you're fine. It's your build. You should have rode it.
I'm good, everybody. I'm going to ride my YZ450.
Hold on. This is the comments filling up of why Steve didn't ride his dirt bike right here. This is me. So. Fun build. Steve, what are you going to do with this thing? Are we going to keep it? We're going to put it in the nostalgia in the house, or what are we doing?
Yeah, I don't really know. I've got two project bikes now in my house, and maybe this one will go, maybe not. Maybe I'll sell it. I don't know. Yeah, I really did it to help my friend Darkside, and I realized he gave me a pile of crap. But I took his pile of crap and made it into something, you know. And so that's a satisfying feeling also.
What? Okay, so it looks really good. So, you know, give the people out there that actually helped you on this build some love and tell them who helped you here.
Yeah, I want to thank the folks. I want to thank Suspension Direct, as I mentioned earlier, for the coating. Racetech did the suspension for me. W does the wheels. Motorsport gave me the deal on the aftermarket Yamaha parts. Renthal chain, sprockets, bar, crossbar pad. Michelin for the tires. Decal Works for the stickers. And yeah, I'm sure I'm leaving some people out, but
well, I really just interrupt you. Like, I really like that decal had the same kind of font as Damon back in the day. It looks identical.
Guys at Decal Works know what they're doing, man.
Yeah,
it's
it looks
fantastic.
really good. So yeah, that wraps it up for today at Glen Helen Raceway. And Steve Matthes, YZ125, 1990 build was a blast for me. And hopefully we'll get Steve now to get back on his motorcycle out here today and ride his dirt bike.
I'm getting on my 450.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, 12 issues, $30, Racer X Illustrated. Lots of things that are in the print edition that you can't see on the digital side. So Steve writes articles especially for print, and lots of fun stuff in there. So don't forget, subscribe. 12 issues, $30, get a free calendar, and stay tuned for more special builds over here on RacerXOnline.com. See you on the next one.